Hello everybody, it is the bonus run that you guys have all donated for. It is the Super Drift Trifecta, being run by Hamman, or Hammerson Mandarin. He's also here, say hello.
Greetings.
Now it is worth saying that you guys donated for this run. So we had a total goal for €50 and you guys absolutely smashed that, so thank you to all those that did donate for this. As you can see, it's Super Drift 2 that Ham is starting with, but you're doing all 3 games.
Yes,
so I'll let him go to the first one. And Ham, the floor is yours, so feel free to take it away and give me, let me know when time starts.
First of all, I'm going to correct a little mistake you made. I'm not starting with Super Drift 2, I just thought it would make a nicer screen for like the introduction and the sort, because, you know, there's a Subaru going in the background and it fits better for McRaeathon. But before I begin, I'd like to say, like, a quick thank you to everyone that donated. Like, we've donated €200 with not as many as 50 people watching the stream, and to me, and the fact that it's all going to a great cause is just incredible. And all of the things that people have been saying about like the streamers and it, I don't know, I'm just waffling at this point. Basically, insert generic thank you for donating here. Yeah, this is the Super Drift series. As I said, I'm not actually going to be starting with the second game, so let's just switch over to the first game real quick. So, Super Drift is a series that I think probably maybe 1 or 2 people in the audience will be familiar with, but if you're familiar with it, then oh boy, you're familiar with it. It's basically like, if I'm to imagine it, it's basically the Need for Speed of Flash games. It's a little weird to say, but all games run on a similar engine, except for the first one, which has slight differences to it, so the first one is going to be slightly unique. So, I don't know, it's a little awkward to do, because this is the first time I've ever been to, like, a live, like, stream and the sort of everyone watching, so, yeah. Just kind of curious, in chat, how many people all have even heard of the Super Drift series before? I'm gonna like read them later on, or Viper can tell me in a little bit. But anyways, I'm gonna start the run now. So the best car is actually the Testarossa, but I'm gonna be doing this run in the FC, otherwise known as the RX-7, because it's the easiest to not screw up with. That's all I'm gonna say. And it also really helps for a very, very special trick. Anyways, I'm also doing this in arcade mode, even though every other run... Anyways, so go. I'm doing this in arcade mode, even though pretty much every run is in time trial, but that's because as it makes the run itself more interesting. Anyways, this game, in terms of its speedrunning scene, is actually only really in its infancy right now. It's like... It got its speedrun.com page in 2018... I've already screwed up. It got its speedrun.com page in 2018, and then... Hang on, I don't remember the RX-7 always being this slow, but... whatever.
Alright, don't stress.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a trick that the RX-7 is best at hitting, called... I don't know what to call it, so I'll just borrow the name from the Trackmania community and call it a bug slide, where you're meant to, like, drift to get around corners and get more speed. However, the devs didn't account for the fact that if you do it at just the right angle, you can drift without even having to go through a corner, and that makes you earn speed God damn it. And that makes you earn speed drastically. Like it's not even a contest. Even the slow accelerating vehicles go fast. And this is an awful run at the beginning, but I suppose awful runs make things funnier. Anyways, I'm actually going to switch over to the Testarossa because I didn't think the FC was that slow, but yeah. There's actually a rule for the game that you... how do I... There's actually a rule for the game that you can't switch cars mid-run, but I'm the moderator for the game, so I think this one time I'll let it slide so that people can have like more fun watching the stream itself, because as I said, it makes things more exciting, I guess.
Getting severe outrun vibes with the Testarossa. I'm not surprised.
I mean, we did have an outrun on speedrun like a little earlier, but funnily enough, the main developer of the game, Rumble Sushi, otherwise known as Joe Rathman, he was heavily inspired by Ridge Racer, and I think you can like tell from the way this game is played. And strangely enough, there's actually very little info on Rumble Sushi on the internet, on the actual internet. All we only really have is one interview that was I opened the this is a disaster. I opened like, how do I say what just happened? I pressed like, I tried to reach to the P, and then I hit a button which opened the file page for the emulator, and then when I pressed space, it opened Steam for some reason. But anyways, as I was saying, there's very little info about Joe Rathman on the internet. The most we have is... How do I say this? The most we have is one interview which he took from a, how do I say this? A gaming news site? Take a shot every time I say, how do I say this, because I did not expect it to be as stressful as it is now. Like, you guys have no idea. Anyway, so... And the kind of interview that was there were kind of just asking a couple of like normal questions, and we did get a bit of info on the developer himself. The four things we know about him is that the 5 things we know about him is that he's based in the UK. He really likes Eurobeat. All of his games are made on the same engine, with the exception of the first game, which is on a slightly modified early version of it. He grew up on Ridge Racer and the sort, and last of all, to show what kind of interview this was. Oh, I accidentally hit time trials, but whatever. To tell you, to just kind of paint a mental image of what kind of an interview this was. There was a question that said, "Can you beat Chuck Norris?" And all he replied was, "Yes." Like, that's the kind of a person we're talking about right now. But I mean, if he can keep the fun times rolling, then I ain't gonna judge him for his power level. I don't know. Trying to be funny under pressure is way harder than it sounds.
I'm gonna say what's it called, Chuck Norris, but racing. Interesting.
That's a very interesting mental image for your head. Anyways, we're coming up to the end of the first game, which. The first game is a short one, but it has a very unique style of drifting. Like, it actually feels like you're, like, drifting in the car, because it is a drift mechanic in a video game centered around drifting. Also, this last stage I've actually gotten quite lucky on. These drops are very, very, very luck-based to get. And for the first run, for the first lap, I wasn't too lucky with them, but for the second one, I got, like, the best possible luck for it. Anyway, I might as well talk about, like, my history with the game when it comes to speedrunning. So, ironically enough, the whole reason I was speedrunning the game was because I was actually meant to speedrun something entirely different from McRaeathon. I was meant to speedrun this PS2 kart racer, which I've talked about in a couple of the races I've done with Viper, called Wacky Races starring Destiny and Muttley, but then I learned that leans very heavily into the kart racer side, and those aren't allowed in McRaeathon. So... 145, not that bad. So now we're gonna switch over to Super Drift 2, yeah. So just, and I thought, what would be a good game to substitute for that? And I just thought, Super Drift 2. Now, normally I would go with the fastest car for these runs, but I know what you guys want. You want the Impreza, don't you? Anyways, as I was saying,
yes. Yes.
I thought that Super Drift would be like pretty funny to run, and I found that the top level speedruns for it were awful, like really bad. Like everyone like spent years to get at best a 507, and what do they get? And what do I get after 20 minutes? A 457. Anyway, so as I said, we're now on Super Drift 2, and Super Drift 2 decided to, like, do a lot of changes to the drifting formula. So as you can see...
Sorry, can I just... Go on. No, go on, you finish first.
It's a lot easier to do the drifts themselves. Like, I think it's highlighted by this corner right here, which is made for, like, the new drifting style. Like, could you imagine this kind of drifting in like, Super Drift 1? It just wouldn't work out. Anyways, continue.
I'm not gonna lie, so the Subaru that's on the screen right now, that's actually not... Right, is this a Flash game? Shockwave game.
Yes, it is a Flash game released in.
I'm not
2012.
gonna lie, the detail of that reminds me of, I mean, whether they got it from it or not, I don't know. But there was a racing game that came out on PC back in the 90s, International, I think it was Network Q Rally Championship or something.
Yeah,
Or Network Q RAC. Came out on PC, I don't know if it came out on PS1 or any other platform, but it came out on PC. And the Subaru that I can see on screen right now looks like it was ripped from that, but looks better than that game did.
It's
Like, it
ironic
looks like a crammed down Impreza, but it actually doesn't look that bad. I mean, yeah, okay, it's a Flash game, Shockwave game, so it's not going to look like 3D really impressive, but even then I'm like, huh, okay.
Oh yeah,
At least you got the Subaru decals on it, that's good.
Yeah. A general rule for the second game as well is that for the second lap, you don't drift in the first chunk, because it's the only place in Super Drift 2 where a lot of lag is caused if you drift in it. So it's generally faster to like not even bother drifting in that first one. And trust me, that's foreshadowing for the next game. Anyway, so now we're on to Overpass City, which is the easiest stage in Super Drift 2, and generally the best to showcase how the mechanics can make your car go very, very quickly. And it's also a lot easier to control the drifts themselves, because all you need to do is stop accelerating for just a moment, and then it immediately like stops it, so you can get back to drifting. You know, it's a lot easier to do than the other. I think because I'm doing this, I lost my train of thought there.
So I think I'm doing this because then that was it.
Yeah. The funny thing about this game is, and then I just never finish.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this game is that it's not funny. But anyways, I say this is the easiest track in the game, but these turns are a lot harder than they look. I'm very lucky to have got them there. I spoke too soon, but yeah, they're very, very difficult. And also, I spoke about that one golden rule with the fish tank before, but there's another even more golden rule than that. Whatever you do, under any circumstances, do not drift when you're going at under 75 miles an hour. You will lose control of the car, and the run's pretty much gonna die. It's honestly somewhat scary to always be thinking about that, but yeah, never drift under 75 miles an hour. You will pay the price if you do.
Also, Chotu's just asked, this is the second game, right?
Yes, this is the second game.
Yeah. And there's one more coming up after this, because it is a trifecta.
Yeah.
Allow me to just reiterate something here, just for those that don't know. Ham submitted this himself as a donation incentive, as a bid war, and when we was like, what the hell is Super Drift? So he looked up and was like, okay, this looks like it's meme worthy, let's go for it, let's see if it gets there.
Absolutely.
I wasn't actually sure, but was like, yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, it's like, Mom, want Ridge Racer? We've got Ridge Racer at home. This is Ridge Racer at home. You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Yeah.
Initial D, eat your heart out. There you go.
Okay, so now I'm gonna actually have to focus here, because Maple Pass is a very difficult stage to go quick in, because it has some like very difficult turns to like weave around. If I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
And also, drifting makes us go like way quicker. So you're incentivized to do it any point you can. Alright, here's the part where you focus. I've got that.
Just whilst I'm gonna say, well, whilst you're focusing and going quiet, if we've got 2 seconds, I can easily just turn around and what's it called? I can easily turn around and just fill it in with a bit of information. If that's okay with you, I'll let you crack on doing what you're doing. If you're all good with that. Just to let everyone know, by the way, you are watching McRaeathon 2022. Just worth mentioning as well that we are a 2-day speedrunning marathon held annually here on the McRaeathon and the BSG channels. Through the power of the internet, we're bringing you 2 full days of racing goodness from the comfort of our own homes to yours. We'd like to thank BSG for supporting our marathon. Besides providing us with their channel for streaming, they are sharing technical assistance and their donation service with us, which helps with a much smoother running of our events. Be sure to check out BSG's next big event, BSG Annual 2022, which is going to be running live in the Netherlands from the 14th to the 20th of August. If you want to know when our next McRaeathon update, our next McRaeathon event is going to go live, when submissions open and so on, be sure to follow us over on Twitter, and also be sure to join our Discord if you haven't already. And if you want to catch previous McRaeathon runs, then be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. But apart from that, I'll hand it back to Han.
Alright, thank you. And just in time as well, because now we're on to Latin Falls, which is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting tracks in the entire game, because the turns themselves seem easy, but again, it's like threading a needle, and if you crash into one of the walls, then you won't be able to get any drifts going. You're just going to crash over and over and over and over. And here, I think I actually got like a nice shift for it here, but again, I do have to focus a little bit. I can be a little bit carefree here because this is the stage that I felt practice the most, so that I look good while doing it. You know, that's always why you should practice, so that you look like stylish in front of the people who are looking at your funny impreza that's not detailed on the side and has the incorrect badge. But anyways, one thing I want to like mention right now is how smooth this game runs. Like the only real time the frames drop, like it may be a little bit worse for the stream itself because I don't stream that often and there could be some like technical issues, but the only real time the frame rate drops in this game is when you're at the fish tank at the beginning. But everything else runs buttery smooth. Now I want you to pay. Okay. I want you to really consider how good the frame rate is looking at the top left near the position, because I enabled some debug text. Because when we get to Super Drift 3, which has the exact same, you'll see exactly how good we have it. Oh, are you kidding me? One of my Steam friends is starting playing a game and I can't hit the next button. There we go. So yeah, that's an awkward bit of time loss right there, but it doesn't matter because the menus don't really count towards times afterwards. Anyway, here's another downhill track, so I'm gonna have to focus a little bit again, because this is one of the trickiest stages. I did also practice this one quite a lot. There's also this bit where you just awkwardly jag leftward, and I got one of the more tame ones, so that should be fun. By the way, I might as well. I'll reiterate something. This game's speedrunning is in its infancy, so if you want to be like an early contributing factor to it, then the door's wide open for all three of the games. Though I don't suggest you speedrunning the third one because the third one is a no-no. The fourth game as well. I was planning on speedrunning the fourth game, but unfortunately, I'm speedrunning all of these games on Blue Maximus Flashpoint, which is made to preserve all of these Flash games, right? And they haven't actually got the fourth one there yet. You can still play Super Drift 4 on the Y8 browser, but unfortunately it hasn't been put on Flashpoint, so there's no way for me to like easily switch to it, you know? And it's kind of a shame too, because Super Drift 4, it's no Super Drift 2, but it's still a good time. There are a couple of frame rate issues. Some of the game's newer vehicles don't fit in with the art style, but they did introduce a turbo meter, which makes it more justifiable to go for big drifts like these. Even though a little unnecessary, it gives the fourth game its own flavor. Also, I might as well say right now that you may not think it, but in terms of like Flash games and plays, this game is huge! Like, on Y8 alone, the whole series has over 60 million plays as of today. Like, and that is just on Y8. Anyways, we're getting to the final stage of the second game, Neon Super Times, and I haven't had any embarrassing crashes so far, so... Oh, this is actually turning out to be a pretty good impreza run for the second one. Especially considering this is the first one. But this... Oh, goddammit. We're fine though. But this stage also holds probably one of the most annoying parts of the whole run, because you're incentivized to drift through this whole stage, but then there's this one bit, which jerks you to the right, and if you're drifting there, then you get sent so far that if you want to continue drifting there, how do I say this? You have to be pixel perfect, otherwise you're going to crash into the wall and lose all of your speed. it's a little bit awkward, but the rest of the stage is probably one of my favorites in the game. So it checks out. So have you got any commentary to add, Piper?
Well, apart from seeing these games for the first time, I'll be honest, I'd never heard of the series until you submitted this. I was like, what the hell, Super Drift? Like I said before, I was like, what the hell, Super Drift? Never heard of it. It's the first time I've actually seen all 3 games. This is, I mean, at the moment, I'm still on the second one, but...
I mean, not all 3 games, because the 4th one I can't, like, access right now, but still, the good majority of it, and generally what to expect from the series itself. Because this series can be pretty fun when you learn how to speedrun it. You just gotta be aware of the jank that it holds. Like, these are very janky games. Anyway, so let's see if I can show what I was doing before. I wasn't drifting for any of those corners, so you weren't able to see. And I also almost accidentally drifted under 75 miles an hour. I think if I have a tiny bit of spare time, I'll show you what happens if you drift under 75 miles an hour. And a couple more, like, small little tidbits for the game, because I've been given, like, 40 minutes to speedrun this, and what's the time we're on right now?
18 minutes.
Yeah, I've got time. So after this, I'll show you like a couple of like small things to do with the game itself, and generally if they make you laugh or go, interesting, then they will have done their job. Okay then, so we're coming up to the finish line on Super Drift 2, and I got a very good time for it. So then, you're probably thinking with the game aims only getting better and better. I missed the play-up skip, lovely. So you're probably thinking because the game is slowly getting better and better, Super Drift 3 would follow suit. Super Drift 3 is crap! We're gonna pick the Impreza again, but I'm gonna explain to you exactly why Super Drift 3 is awful. So it seems like there's not much different, maybe a different camera, some new stages or whatever, but I'm gonna get ahead of this Civic right here, and then I'm gonna drift once, and then you'll see the problem with this game. Just look at this.
I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, the frame rate is awful. And not only that, but it also houses one of the worst mechanics in the entire series. There isn't an official name for it, so I'm gonna call it the super glue walls. What the super glue walls do are, when you hit them, your car is stuck to it until it decelerates a certain amount, and then after that, you can finally, like, get off the walls and start drifting again. Even though the drifting is set so tight here that you're likely just gonna plummet back to the side of it afterwards. Like, why? This game completely, like, how do I say this? Decentivizes the idea of drifting, even though the previous games have made it so that that's the whole thing you're gonna want to do! Yeah, this run is gonna be quite ranty, because not many people have speedrun this game, and I don't want people to make this mistake of actually running it, because this game is awful to run.
Well, just 2 things. First of all, just try and keep things to a minimum. Second of all,
yeah,
with the
I'm not gonna be cursing anymore. So.
The 3 game. Don't worry, for those wondering, like, oh my god, the frame rate's dropping. Yeah, the frame rate isn't actually on our side. That is just the game, by the way, for those curious.
Yeah.
The game's doing the frame rate issue. It's not anything on Ham's side or on our side. That's actually the game itself.
And funnily enough, because of, like, how do I say this? Because of, like, because this is running from the raw file, we can't, like, say that the website's having them as the issue. There's also another huge problem with the game. Like, I'm gonna load this track up, and take a guess what the issue is.
2, 1, go!
Protestants?
This is the exact same stage as Super Drift 2. They are reusing stages. And not only that, but the fish tank which you couldn't drift through before, like, I'm gonna drift through it here so you can see how bad it gets.
You know what the funny thing is? This reminds me of Coal Masters in the... Oh, sugar. This reminds me of Coal Masters in the early 2000s.
Except their games didn't run anywhere near as awful as this.
Alright, try.
Like, look, that slingshot thing I got before, because the drift is so much tighter, it's near impossible to do. Like, you have to spam your arrow keys to be able to do it. And, like, I never noticed that the drifting was tighter until the runs here started. Like, you know what the one change they made to the stages? Those little crates, like, right over there. Those two crates are the only difference between this stage in Super Drift 2 and this stage in Super Drift 1. The only stage that works, like, better with the drift... The only part of the stage that works better with the drifting is that little tunnel you just went through. Yeah! Yeah, this game... Whew, this game sucks. And it really is a shame, too, because the Super Drift series had, like, a lot of potential going for it. Like, now that I'm here, I'll show you, like, a prime example of, like, the sticking thing. So, like, if I'm to go over here, and then, like, try to turn right, like, look. Like, you can see, it took a moment for me to, like get out from it. I mean, I think Super Drift 2 had this mechanic as well, but it was nowhere near as sensitive as this. Like, it would maybe hold you there for, like, like, a third of a second, and then you're back on it. So little that it's not even noticeable. And that's kind of nuts, if you know what I mean.
I love how like, everyone's been trying to sell their racing game so far, and then we get to it's like, no, don't buy this, do not play this. If someone's got mad with physics, do not play it.
But then here's the worst part of it. They don't only reuse stages from Super Drift 2, but also from Super Drift 1. Which, if you remember, as I said before, can you imagine one of the first games with one of the lady games drifting style? Yeah! And while the strategy for the other one is to literally just slam into the wall over and over, for this, no! Just... It's awful! Yeah, if you want to speedrun on, like, the Super Drift series, speedrun the first or second game, or maybe the fourth game. Keep your grubby hands off the third one, because this game, no. And look, in the first game, these leaves didn't cause a single issue for the game. They made it run at like 60, maybe 120, I don't know, but for this game, ouch. Like, they've also reused the track for Cherry Mountain like halfway through the game, which is fine for the first while, but the track itself gets annoying very quick. Also, I hope you don't mind for McRaeathon, but halfway through, I am going to switch to the Testarossa, because otherwise there's no way I'll be able to beat the AI for the next couple stages, and I don't want to replay any of the, and I don't want to replay any stages from the third game. So it's fine by you. I'm gonna switch to the Testarossa.
Yeah, go for it.
And it's honestly somewhat unfortunate, because the one thing Super Drift 3 has is that the track design for the unique stages are fantastic. And I honestly wish I could play these in Super Drift 2, but maybe some ROM hacker could help you with that, but nope, these games are just this track is just confounded to the worst possible, it's just confounded to the worst possible game. Yeah. But trust me, I say the track design for the third game is good, but there is one stage where that's the exception. I'll get to that when I get to that. But for now, let's enjoy this good track design. Like it tests you in a lot of areas. It changes between like straight corners and I don't know. You can just see the track for yourself. But this is one of the better stages in the series. Shame I can't play it though. And also, oh wait, I take it back every little bit of criticism I had for Super Drift 3, because if you hit the Z button, search filter! This game is automatically better. Yes, give me my money. Because I want my money back, because this game sucks. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna turn that off, because I think that brings in even more lag to the picture, which is something we do not want. No, Serena Williams. And also, one thing you will have noted is that there's only one boss car in all of these games, and with the games progressing, all of the other boss cars, like, become available. With the only real change to the models being made with the boss car of the Countach, which was the boss for the second game, where the color is changed from yellow to orange? There isn't really, like, a change like that for any of the other boss cars in the future games, but yeah, it's weird. And that also means that the Testarossa is also just as broken in the third game as it is in the first. So, yeah. I honestly think it's quite funny that from a distance, Super Drift 3 doesn't look as bad as any of the other games, but yeah, it's bad. Like, if
Just want to quickly take this time just to say, real quick, already that we're, obviously, for those that don't know, we have hit 200 euros. Let's see if we can get to 250 before the end of day 2. I'm quite intrigued to see if we can.
Honestly, the fact
See how high we can push the how high we can push the mountain. Oh, sorry, climb the mountain. There we go.
The fact that we've reached 200 at all is honestly another Steam message popped up. Are you serious? The fact that we've reached each 200 euros at all is incredible, especially considering that this isn't an GDQ or SGDQ. It's just a bunch of people doing a marathon of some of the racing games and the sort. But yeah, they reuse another stage from Super Drift 2. And honestly, this game just makes me wish, why aren't I playing the second game? Anyway, so as I was saying, the fact that we've even reached 200 is... my finger slipped on the Windows key. The fact that we've reached 200 at all is honestly, quite frankly, incredible. And I think probably the highlight for it is... Who was the guy that ran Driver 2? I forgot his name.
Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor. It's like, when Survivor said he would like donate the amount of money depending on the amount of accidental crashes, he would donate the money to that, to any of the causes. Well, at that time, the cause for me to do it, like, the goal was 50 euro, but it was at 40, and the fact that he did 48 crashes. He overpaid the thing for 38 euro. Oh, and honestly, I think that's incredible. All the more power to you, Survivor.
Well, we had what was it called? We did have a donation off Rota, which was every time he failed a license test, he donated 10 euros. That was last night coming into this morning.
Yeah, I saw. Though I was playing something in the background, so I wasn't entirely sure. How many licenses did he fail?
2.
Huh.
But he said he paid $5 for each one he failed.
Well, that could have gone a whole lot worse, couldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Rota was like, phew.
Lucky
Not loads of money out of it. Yeah, loads of money out of his pocket.
Yeah. Like you saw that, if anyone caught it, the like sticking to the wall thing, that affected me going straight there. There we go. And that, I was actually very lucky to not get the... And one thing I feel like I should mention is that the first game actually lets you reset your vehicle if you're off-center, and this can be overpowered in a lot of stages. Like, you saw me, like, on the first game for Neon Good Times, I was going to crash, but then I, like, hit it, and then the reset point actually sent me further through the track. Like, it's a tad bit difficult to notice, but when you notice it, it's definitely very noticeable.
3, 2.
Another track reused from Super Drift 2! Oh, and one thing I would like to bring to limelight about Super Drift 3 is that if you count the stages we've been through, we've gone through the first hill stage, which I don't remember. There was the second stage was reused from Super Drift 2. The third stage was reused from Super Drift 1. The fourth stage is an original stage. The fifth stage is reused from Super Drift 2. The sixth stage is reused from Super Drift 2, and the last stage is an original stage. So that means that over half of this game's tracks are from the previous games. The new tracks are the amount of tracks that were in Super Drift 1. That inexcusable.
Again, same as what Codemasters did, early 2000s. Colin McRae Rally 304 2005, copy and paste the stages with slight bits tweaked. Same stages though.
Well, I mean,
again, I know what you mean though. Yeah, okay, Codemasters made the game, but that annoyed me when I found that out. So I know that pain. Don't think this game's the only one. For those that weren't aware, by the way, that's actually true. Colin McRae Rally 304 and 2005, and the second game actually, all share the same stages.
like all
Not
of the
every
same
single
stages?
stage. No, not all of them. but they share some of the same stages. For example, the easiest example I can give is in France in Call McRae Rally 2. One of the stages from that game was called France. It was France stage 2 or stage 3 or something. It might have been more. I don't know. And it went into the
So then.
yeah.
So,
Went into
I've said
Spain.
that most of the track designs are good, but the final stage, is where I've really reached my limit. Not only does it run awfully, but it lasts a total of 6 minutes! And it's a 2-lap stage. So a 3-minute stage, you have to do twice. And not only that, but it's multiple stages combined into one, and look at the fish tank here. If I drift here, I'm gonna look at the frame rate here. 16 at its minimum. 16! When the fish tank was the only thing that lagged in the second game, that is, I'll say it again, inexcusable. Anyways, back to you, Viper.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it was mad that we found that out. Well, I ended up looking through some of the games and I was like, wait a minute, so you're telling me there's stages in Call McRae Rally 2 that are in the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th games, but they've been relabeled into other countries, or the same country, but slightly different? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, it turns out some of the France stages are classed as Spain in the later games, and some of the UK stages from CMR2 are still UK stages, but they're like the reverse version of them. It's the same stage, but backwards.
Yeah, I
But
noticed
if
that as well.
no, but it's like a lot of people didn't notice though. Like you might have noticed, and I might notice, but a lot of people haven't actually noticed this. I was like, look, it's the same friggin' stage. They're like, how do you know? I'm like, just turn the car around and go back the other way, and you're like, oh yeah, so it is.
But to be
Some
fair,
bits do miss and things. You do miss some parts of the stages. Like for example, in the Spain stage, at the French stage to the Spanish stage comparison, it starts a bit further into the France stage when you're playing in Spain, but then that means it expands a bit further past the end of the actual stage. Trust me, if you're not keeping your eye out and you're not watching closely, yeah, you it's not blinking, you'll miss it, but it's not far off.
anyways, though I will admit for a second, Viper, the appearance of it in the appearance of it in hang on. I lost my train of thought. I've got to reconnect it for a moment. Okay, there we go. So, I will admit that seeing the castle from Call McRae Rally 2 in like HD or kind of HD in the third game, that was kind of cool. And probably, even though they do reuse a lot of the tracks, I think probably one example I can consider good is one of the Greece stages, Gardiki, where there's this big like cliff stage, where there's like this huge cliff stage, like this one part where it transitions into a large cliff on the side. And for the third game, when you get there, you take a right at a certain bridge that appears. Now, on the fourth game, you play the stage in reverse, which, I mean, that does happen a couple of times in the other games, but, yeah, hang on. I mean, you did say that they go into reverse for a couple of the stages, so that's not that noteworthy, but then in the fifth game, it starts at a completely new section, then joins to the path that the third game took, and then at the bridge, takes a left. So if anyone was ever wondering where that bridge goes in the third game or the fourth game, there's your answer. It's in the fifth game. I honestly thought that one was kind of cool because Gardiki was one of my brother's favorite tracks because of the big cliff. Anyways, one more like big flaw I find with the third game, and especially the fourth game, is that the new cars it introduces, for the most part, do not fit in with the game's art style. Like, I'll show you when I do, like, some little demonstrations after the run, because I thought it would take, like, 40 or so minutes, but where are you? What time do we have right now, Viper? Viper? Am I still connected? Oh god, help! It's turned into Silent Hill! Hello? Hello? Is Viper gonna do something else? Hello, chat? Anyways, so, as I was saying before, if I'm still connected, I'll show you a couple, like, little tricks that this game has after I'm done with it. So like, a couple of things that I thought were noteworthy, a couple, like, fun facts about the series itself, because if we're considering who knows the most about the game, I think Joe Rathman probably knows the most, followed by me, because I've taken quite a deep dive into this series that not that many people have batted an eye to. I'll briefly pause to check OBS to see if I'm, like, still streaming. Yes, I'm still streaming. We're good. So, yeah, while Vipe has gone to the Shadow Realm, I guess, there we are. I was questioning why you suddenly went quiet. But anyway, so, what time are we on right now, Viper?
30, just short of 38 minutes.
Time! So then, we just reached 38 minutes, and before the run itself ends, I want to show off, like, one or two things with the game itself. I don't have that much time, so I'll kind of speed through them. But there's a little trick with the game. Let's just clear the save right now, so that I like lose the data and we don't have the Bugatti unlocked. Which, look at this game in the art style. Like, look at this. Like, this does not fit in with the art style at all. But right now the car is locked. But there's a little glitch with the game where the car does a little spin when you select it, right? But what they didn't account for is the game doesn't check what car you selected during the spin animation. So, if you switch over to the Bugatti, while the spin animation is still going, you actually still end up in the Bugatti. And this was never fixed for any of the Rumble Sushi games. The next thing I want to showcase is... There are 3 more things I want to showcase. First is what actually happens when you drift under 75 miles an hour, and this, you've just... Yeah, it speaks for itself. It's a lot more, like, comical in the second game, but I don't really have any details for that, so... The last 2 things I want to mention are in the first Super Drift game. So, there was actually a glitch only on the Play Hub version of the game, which sadly we don't have here. This is the Newgrounds version. But, Testarossa is locked in Neon Good Times. But, if you're playing the Play Hub version of the game, and you beat the time trial version of it, then you still unlock the Testarossa. They never put that check there. Someone pointed it out to Rumble Sushi in the Newgrounds comment section, so they patched it later on, but that's pretty funny. And finally, the last thing I want to showcase, it is to do with, like, the reset system. Actually, there's, like 2, small things I want to showcase with the reset system. I'm going to hold, like, straight up and then press the reset button. It doesn't remember that you're accelerating, like, at all. Like, I am holding up and it's doing nothing. But anyways, the big thing I wanted to showcase, which it would be quicker if I just restart, and the last thing I want to show before I hand it off to Viper to the next runner, is there's a glitch hiding in plain sight. Take a guess what it is. If you reset back here, yeah, you... Wait, hang on! Whoa! Hang on! I've done that glitch a couple times, but I've never ended up to that backside part of the track. I just kind of fell through it and... I swear, this has never happened when I've actually done the glitch itself, but yep, now we're back here. What I was going to showcase...
This seems like a marathon tradition. This has never happened before, says everybody.
If you reset all the way back here, you fall through the track, because they forgot to put the collision there. And if you keep accelerating, when it puts you back on the track, it actually puts you a little later on through the stage, so like after 1 or 2 of the corners. But yeah, you said the prediction was going to be about 40 minutes, and I wasn't too sure about that, but you were right on with that guess. I don't know, but I mean, we take those, I guess you could say. So anyways, like, now after falling, we end up here, like, a little bit after the first checkpoint. So, checkpoint skip! Checkpoint skip, anyone? So yeah, that's my run for the Super Drift series, except for the 4th one. If anyone wants to come and speedrun the games and make the leaderboards a little more lively, because it's mostly me and one veteran that put his whole game on speedrun.com on the first, I'd be glad to see it. And I'm gonna start up waffling and hand it over to you, Viper. And thank you for donating, and thank you everyone to donating for this whole thing to be possible. I didn't like think that an obscure series like this would be donated for, but you've all proved me wrong. And thank you for donating for both your or entertainment, my entertainment, and supporting a good cause. Ta-ra!
No worries, thank you very much, man. Hamman, yeah, I'll just say Hamman, yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for that bonus run. And again, as we said, thank you to all those that did donate for this bonus run. Don't go anywhere though, we're going to go to a quick intermission. When we come back, we're going to have Road Rash, the level 1, first level, by Digital Duck. So feel free to stick around for that. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon. So we'll see you soon.
Train jump scare.